Morning all, and welcome to today's Sunday Q&A. Starting off this week with last week's mistakes. Getting good at these, isn't I? Mitch Bullion Freight says, I'm at the shop store near the RDC, and thanks for the insurance help. Well, that's fine. There wasn't really any insurance help, to be honest with you, Mitch. But yeah, he's right. There is fairly decent Aldi's about 2 roundabouts away from the is it Aldi's or Lidl's? Probably Lidl's, I guess, from the Lidl distribution centre on Junction 11A. It looks very new and clean. I've never been in there. It's on the way to Houghton Regis. Check it out if you like. So, right, this week's video was MOT. Because I had to take the truck for MOT, which kind of might prove to be largely pointless because at the time I thought I was keeping it, and now I know I'm not keeping it. So it will be up for sale in next week. I think I'm going to put it in an auction. So if anyone's interested, it will go into the auction. It's got a year's ticket. It's a decent truck. We were going to run it. I mean, it's not the newest, but if you just want running around town kind of stuff, fire away, like, you know. But it'll go into CVA auctions, Hemel Hempstead, probably sometime next week. Or if not, leave a message in the comments. I'm sure we can sort something out. Godzilla said, it may be a point, but I've always found the Renault guys really top people. They're great. They really are good. He said, I used Kingsbury and Nuneaton and the lads of the Salt of the Earth who took time to explain and loaded me up with free coffee. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, the man did turn around and say there, my mate, Mr. Bennett, he said, my mechanic and his boy, he said, drink far too much of my tea. But he was, of course, joking. He's cool. Brian Webb says, sarcastic Brian, says, maybe if you'd had it inspected correctly, it would have passed first time. I've always taken through an MOT on my way out today. Yeah, so as for that, you know who inspects my lorries? The same person who inspects your lorries. It was just unlucky. The guy does sometimes, just pulled him up on reflective tape. Like, really? But it is what it is. He said, I've always taken them for MOT on my way to delivery. Pay in load. No need to lose a day's pay for the MOT. The test station is only as good as the testers on the day, and some of them are not fit for purpose. I've always been lucky with the testers. Maybe the guys down at Renault are pretty cool. But he has got a good point. If you can get a load on board, say the night before, that needs to be delivered any time the next day, you can go into the MOT test with the load on board, in which case you won't have to pay for their weight. Having said that, I now know that on an 18 tonne, I've only got to put 6 tonne on it. It's not the end of the world. So, well, it's cheaper than 8. And Mr. Bruce says, Pete, if you'd have autographed the flag and had some, and have it as a bonus extra with sale truck, it might have made the sale easier. I think if I'd have autographed the flag, it might have gone for less. But yeah, that was kind of it on the MOT, really. She went through fine. Like I say, getting rid of them. FH10 is in the auction this week. So if you want to check out that one over the weekend, that's gone in. Decent truck. It hasn't got an MOT on it, but it would pass. It just needs a new sump. But it's a brand new battery. It's had a brand new gearbox, £2,500 gearbox in it, which I did when I thought I was keeping it, and now it's just get shot of everything. So that's in CVA this week. If anyone's interested, there's lorries out there. The Wise Guys. We've got a few interesting ones from the Wise Guys this week. Andrew Miles. This is a question for the Wise Guys. Andrew Miles says, hey Pete, good video, thank you. I'm new to couriering and found Circuit is good, but it doesn't optimise the pickups and deliveries in such a way that the drop-off address will never be before its corresponding pickup, meaning you risk dropping off a package that you haven't picked up yet. Have you seen any apps that are as good as Circuit and a fair price like Circuit? I'm pleased you think Circuit's a fair price. A lot of people think it's expensive, and 20 quid a month it is kind of expensive, but I thought it was worth the money. But optimise the pickups and deliveries in such a way that drop-off addresses will never be before the corresponding pickup. No, the Circuit dude reckons 3 months for solving the problem. Any thoughts? Well, if anyone else knows there are other multi-drop. I've always said all the way along, I'm not Mr. Multi-Drop. Anyone out there doing the multi-drop, using a multi-drop app, if they want to ping across some information, we can let Andrew Miles know. I presume you've let the people at Circuit know that there's something that they could do to improve it. I hope they will. But it's not really my thing. I'm kind of one pick-up, one drop-off kind of guy. So, Nick the Urban Trucker. This is on people that might be driving into ULEZ zones with older number plates which means they're getting ULEZ fines despite the fact because they're personalised number plates, like gas GA51 kind of thing, which makes the camera think it's a 51 plate, not a Euro 6 plate, and they're getting fined. Getting educated now, or Nicky's anyway. He says, Pete, on the subject of ULEZ and Transport for London fining owners for having private registrations, it's a myth and has been over-exaggerated. I can't believe people who read the rumours on social media and believe it. The ULEZ camera's got the same technology as the ANPR. They have the ability to read UK registrations and all types as well as foreign number plates as well. They are super advanced. All the details for UK registrations are held by the DVLA along with the class of vehicle it is. If this is nonsense, then if this nonsense was correct, then people would be in the wrong VED road tax bracket as well. The fines are being dished out for wrongly spaced number plates that are the wrong size, like people who try to make words, names, turn the 3 around to make it sort of an E, or make it look like a B. Hang on. I know because one of mine regularly goes into London and has a very old 7-digit registration plate, and I've never been fined. Excuse me. So that's what that's all about. Not getting charged because they think it's an older vehicle. You're kind of getting charged because your number plate, and you've seen it before where they're trying to make a name out of it and they space it out wrongly, so they're getting done for that. Brilliant. So more money for the old DVLA there. Don't we all love a fine? Steve Campbell says, as for moving during your daily rest, I have done this a few times. Now this is to do with the fact that if you park up for the night and you're 2 or 3 hours in, and then someone comes in and goes, or an hour in, and they go, sorry mate, you can't park there, you're blocking a fire entrance, or we need this, and so you've got to move. He said, I've done this a few times. When I park up for the night, I immediately pull my card out. Any small movements don't require you putting your card in, or even a printout, as they would go down as shunting in the yard or something. But once I had to move around 12 minutes after I parked up. It was after my daily work time expired, but I still had a minimum of 9 hours rest available after I moved. I put the card back in and did a printout and wrote on the back that I was asked to move. I was parked in a fire assembly point. Vosa accepted that, and also they marked it down as I had a full 11-hour rest. Vosa ain't out to get you as much as people like to think. Another trick with the trampers, excuse me, frog in my throat today. Another trick for any tramper drivers I learned. This may be useful to you now, Pete, if you're one-man operation. If you're returning to base on a Friday, when you're parked out having the weekend, anyway, you'll be parked and having the weekend off. If you run out of driving time a few minutes before you return to the yard, you can invoke, this is a new one on me, Article 12. Rather than taking another 30 or 45 minute break, I have done it twice. First when I hit 4 hours and 29 minutes on the way to the yard where I was in Washington, about 5 miles away from my yard, just after I come off the A1 after driving back from Perth. There is a couple of lay-bys and industrial estates to park in. I continued straight back to the yard and got into the yard on 4 hours 39 minutes. I presume this is just a very small amount of time. The other time I hit 4:18 as I was passing my hometown where I could actually see the street while driving on the A19. I got back to the yard with the gates at 4 hours 33. I pulled my car outside the yard, opened the gates and parked up. I don't think you can use it too often where you know, it's kind of, you plan to use it on a Friday, and it also could be the case where you say, I needed to get back to the yard. It was a Friday. There was no one available to come out and sort of take the truck back for me. Everyone's going home. So this Article 12, anyone knows a bit more about Article 12, but I think, again, probably best not to do it at all if you can avoid doing it, like, you know. But if you're 3 minutes away on a Friday, you can get by and say, look, it's Friday, I was coming home. Yeah, interesting. Right, trucks. Conning Crooks. Oh yeah, I said about having a spare wheel. I thought about the idea of sticking a spare wheel on the motor, because that way, if you do blow a tyre, at least when they turn up, you could say, look, I don't need the wheel, the tyre, I just need someone to change the wheel over. Connie Cookson says, spare wheel is a no-go. He says you enter the world of having to carry lots of equipment to change it. You need calibration certificates for your torque wrench. You need to be able to satisfy the transport manager with certain experience to perform the operation. Last but not least, you have different types of tyre on the front and the back axle. Do you want to carry both? Find out if you've got a regular tyre provider. If your retailer is on TyreNet, this is the best solution. A network of providers accessible through a trusted supplier. All truck tyre companies do roadside changes, and they all understand the commercial pressure to have it done quickly. I mean, on the subject of having to carry different tyres, as I understand it, you can put a steer on the back. You can put a steer on drive, but you can't put a drive on steer. So you would only really have to carry a steer. And as long as it's in date, because you can put out-of-date steers on the back as well as drive tyres, but once again, you can't put them on the front. So as long as you've got an in-date steer tyre, and I'm probably wrong about this, and if I am, everybody will tell me next week and we can open with it. As long as you've got an in-date steer, you could carry it. But you're quite right, because of all the other stuff. You've got to carry a bottle jack, which in fairness, you know, a decent jack, and you've got to carry a torque wrench, and it's got to be calibrated, and, or how often does it happen, and if it does, call a guy out. Yeah, I think you've got a fair point there, my friend. And this week we've got a bit of miscellaneous as well. DF says Copilot app all day long on your phone. I looked at the price of Copilot app. I found it quite prohibitive. I mean, I still think if you're going to do it, probably the best thing to do is to buy yourself a decent truck sat-nav, probably like a TomTom, swallow the expensive price and get on with it. I'm still finding Road Lords works very well, and now I know it's powered by TomTom. It's just a matter to me, I've been using it quite a lot recently, and yeah, I mean, the other day it took me a funny way, and I thought, hang on, I'll just go through this. A road, according to Waze, I'm going to be fine. Got halfway down it, bridge 12.3. I'm like, right. That's why it told me to go the other way. So it's pulling me up. It's doing the thing. I'm quite happy. Tim Marshall says he's enjoyed the videos. He says, recently joined the CX with a long wheelbase, and I've been looking at prices per mile on the app. It's now saying £1.70 a mile. Do you think this is about right? Or do you think it's a bit much? I know you've done a video on prices, but I was wondering whether you could do an updated one. I don't know, mate. I would say I could do an updated one, but then the best way to find it is, I've always said, it's kind of like what to do. Start quoting at what you're happy with. And it's not always 170 a mile, because you might be, hang on a second, this collection is round the corner from my house, which means, A, it's brilliant for me, but also good for them, because I can be in there quickly, or it's going to somewhere I want to go, or it's going somewhere I don't want to go. It just is trial and error. I would say start at your 170, and if you're not winning any jobs, it's too dear. And then if you go down to, like, I don't know, 150, and you're winning every job, you're too cheap. And just do little tiny adjustments, not too mad, until you get to where you need to be. And finally, domain name guy, who's the kind of the trader among us, the stock trader, he says, if I'd have known this years ago, he sort of says, like what you said, all you need to do is you just need to have 3 buttons. You need to know when to buy, when to sell, and when to close, and you can work one day a year. The thing about that, mate, is A, you firstly need the money to buy the shares with, and secondly, you need to know what you're doing, otherwise you could lose your shirt. If you know what you're doing, there are plenty of jobs out there where you can work one day a year and you can make enough money to live the whole year. For example, look at Santa. National hero, works one day a year. Lazy, lazy, lazy. And finally, in conclusion, this week, Steve Campbell says, my solicitor keeps my records for 6 years. We was on the subject of keeping paperwork and stuff. Presumably keeps them digitally. So that's it, we're up to speed. Keeping those a little bit shorter now, because I'm up to speed with all the questions. I'm only on 1 video a week at the moment, while I'm still trying to get myself back into the position of being owner-driver Pete, man in a truck. But we're getting there, 1 step at a time, still learning zero. Still getting through all the old stuff, still trying to close it all down and getting myself in a position, an easier, simpler way to take care and take money.